Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Derek, also known as Tap Peddler, and this is Late and Live, our regular Thursday live chat. I've got Nick Hils with me. How are you, Nick?
Very well. Yeah, good to see you both. Good to see the chat.
And Pete, sales of the unexpected. How are you?
How you doing? I've been dozing because I've been running around giving people lifts to Stansted at ridiculous times of the day. So I was picking up my brother earlier on in the week, and it did mean I missed 2 boot fairs because it was like on I think it was on Sunday, early Sunday. I'm taking him back.
He owes you big time now.
I know. He does.
Sunday's a very bad time to not do.
No, it was quite nice getting in, and because I sort of decided it'd be crazy to go to a boot sale, and got in, just took it easy.
Yeah,
and kind of a bit of FOMO, but it was quite nice, just relaxing on a Sunday. I'm taking him back tomorrow, so like Friday 1 o'clock, I've got to drive to Stansted. I'll probably get back here at about 4, and then go to the boot fair at 5. That'd be nice.
Friday boot sales and stuff.
There better be something good there. No, it's Saturday. Be Friday into Saturday morning. Right. Saturday morning boot fair. But,
I've got a dilemma on Sunday. There's a local sort of car park that they've started advertising the boot sale. This is the first one. It starts at 9 o'clock. And I think it's going to be one of these ones where it's going to start at 9 rather than really early. It's like a community boot fair. But it's the same time. It's the same time as my normal boot sale, so I've got to sort of get to that one late to go to this new one.
Go to a new one. I reckon.
I'm going to try it.
Fresh.
I went to like a tiny little church hall, and it was just in their car park. Probably about 8 cars, and I got a big yellow teapot with loads of figures. Sold that for £100. Got it for like £4.
100.
Yeah, it had all the figures. It was like almost double lots of figures.
Wow,
it's amazing. I didn't think I'd get it. You know, I put it on the top price. Got a vintage Action Man, and got a Le Creuset.
That's the sort of thing. That's the sort of thing you're going to get at those sort of
it's amazing
smaller boot sales. I think
the big bonus with those kind of one-off things that pop up is they won't be on many people's radars or many resellers' radars, particularly.
No.
That's the advantage, I think, is that you may be the only person there buying to resell.
It is quite local. I'm thinking maybe I should get there early because I don't know whether they let people in anyway or they're going to turn people away until it's 9 o'clock. So I'll just come home and then go back again.
Sit by the door and wait. I would.
They might have a sign saying no eBays. eBay is banned.
Yeah, no resellers.
No resellers. We know you, Tap Peddler. Get out, Tap Peddler.
Tap Peddler not allowed.
You just go, what's eBay? Never heard of it.
Honest.
Let's say hello to some people in the chat. Let me just scroll up to the top. Ali Evans was in first. Hi, Ali. Mary Linnis says, boo. How are you? Secret Carper, Antoinette Daly, the Legends in, Chris Tyler, Funky Neil, Hemsden, Old Iron.
Old Iron, that's a new name.
Yeah, I've not noticed that one before myself. So, thanks for popping by. The Dave. Lane is in.
Lane is in. Evening, fellas.
Fix It for Reselling. George Ellison. Room Resellers in.
Hi, John. Hi, Laney.
Something called Richard Payne. I don't know who that is.
Oh, Richard's in. Oh, yeah, there you go. Richard's in.
Good evening, Richard.
Mike.
That's a good turnout.
Yeah, good turnout. Dawn's in. Ian J. Welcome. Margaret Roberts. I think that's everyone. Apologies if I missed anybody. Richard's just turned up as well. Hi, it's live. Hiya. Right, so I thought we'd loosely chat about some troublesome buyers, our sort of experiences, If anybody's got any of those sort of stories they want to share in the side chat, then post it in, and we'll
So it's like a
read it.
therapy session for when you get these like
Share all
moments.
our problems.
Oh,
Yeah, it's good to share.
where do you
Yeah.
start? Where do you start on that? It's the
Right,
little.
I had one today. Well, it started last week. It was a video rack that I sold.
So not electrical, just
Not-
like for
not an
videotapes.
Yeah, for, just like a rack where you store them.
What could
Anyway,
possibly
so-
go wrong?
I sent it Hermes, standard stuff, and it got marked as delivered. I thought fine. He opened a item not received case, so I thought fine. I'll get that closed pretty easily. So contacted eBay straight away, and they told me I had to wait 7 days or something until it can be closed. So I did that, but at that point also the buyer wanted me to contact Hermes to say that it's marked as delivered, but he hasn't actually received it. I think he sent me a photo of the front door, and it was different to the one that Hermes had as evidence. Anyway, so I said it will have to be investigated. It's marked as delivered, Anyway, so he said that he wanted a refund, and that was about 3 or 4 days after it had been delivered. And I said, no, it's got to be investigated. Anyway, so he messaged back and basically said, well, on Thursday, which is obviously today, I'm going to contact eBay and get my money back because I haven't got it. So I thought, yeah, fine, so let him get on with that. So first thing I did this morning was contact eBay, got the case closed out in my favour because it was marked as delivered.
Well, they will do, won't they? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think they ever, if something's marked as delivered, will sort of find it not in your favour.
No,
So-
the only time I've ever heard it, and it's on groups, I don't think I've ever had to do it myself, is they've made them sign some sort of form to say that it's, they haven't actually received it.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I
but the buyer has to jump through those hoops, do they?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I thought would happen. Anyway, what actually happened was, after it got closed in my favour, about an hour after that, I did this quite early, about 8 o'clock this morning, so I wanted to get on there before he did, basically. So it was the first thing I did this morning. About 9 o'clock, he opened a return request, and he had a photo of I think it was a DVD, in front of the video rack, saying it doesn't fit. His DVDs don't fit. So he had a picture.
It's the video rack that hasn't arrived.
He
Yeah.
bought a video rack to put his DVDs in.
Yeah. Though he did open a didn't fit return request, so it means that he has to pay.
Oh, he has to pay the postage.
So
It's like he's trying on shoes.
So in one stroke, he admitted it is actually there. It did turn up, and he bought the wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, I
Compulsive liar.
I phoned up eBay, and they basically said, "Well, you've got to take the return," which I thought I would anyway. But I sort of wanted to preempt them and just sort of let them know that there's something a bit fishy going on here. And whether they really care or not, I don't know. But they said they put something on his file.
So can people open up multiple cases? I mean, can they? Because I often wonder about this. Because
they can. Once it's closed, once the other
when someone opens a item defective or not as described or whatever, I always email them and sort of say, "Oh, you've chosen the wrong reason." So I got one at the moment actually for a Spectrum game, and I've sold it, and I always put in the title, it is tested, but it may not work on your machine because these things are invariably old, and a lot of the time it's just collectors buying them for the shelf.
Yeah.
But I had this one guy buy it, and he said, I always put loads not guaranteed in my description. And he wrote back and said, I couldn't get it to load, so I'll return it. So he's put defective. So at the moment, I've got to foot the return postage, which is whatever it is. But I always sort of ping in a message saying, could you close that case because you got the wrong reason? Because I have put, the load isn't guaranteed. Could you change it to change mind, and then I'll sort you out? But he didn't do that, so I've had to accept it anyway. But I always wonder, can people close them and sort of,
I think if
and then
it's
open another one?
It's if it's a different type of case, I think they can. In the same way as this one, he opened a not received case, and then he managed to open a returns case.
Just go through the list.
Yeah, but that's what I think he's doing. He didn't win the first one. He wanted the item for free, I assume, because he's got it. He's seen his photo. So he wanted that for free. He failed doing that. Now I think is going to happen. He's going to send me back an empty box or something like that to basically get his refund that way. He wants it.
Well, it could well turn out that he just can't be bothered to send it, and you have to keep your eye on that, like 2 weeks or whatever, 10 days. Yeah, just like 8:30, in the ring up and go. Yeah, the time's up.
Yeah, well, he did message me. Well, I messaged him basically and said, you said that you hadn't received this, so how are you going to return it? And just because I wanted to try and incriminate himself, so he sort of, then I can show the messages and say, well, you said this. But he said that the UPS delivery driver delivered it this morning, and it came.
Even though the tracking says.
Well, it was sent by Hermes. So I said, well, UPS won't do that. But he basically, then he was a bit crazy. He basically put loads of weird sort of stuff. Then it was a massive thread. He kept on messaging me for about 2 hours constantly.
God, sounds like fun.
It was just
got the right one here.
It was one of them ones.
Mine.
And he said in the end, he said goodbye. That's enough now. I'm just going to return it. Goodbye. And then he started messaging me again about an hour later with all this stuff. And I messaged him because I couldn't help myself. And I said, I thought you said goodbye. and then I said,
this
is an epic.
And then I said, I await the return. And then he sent a load of other stuff. It was all sort of, it was called
it's funny that over the years, you build up spidey senses, don't you? And the way people approach the returns process. You build up, and you're not always right, but generally I find my gut feeling is right, that people are just fishing for a partial, or they're just trying to get some money back. They don't have no intention in returning it or whatever. But we've got one ongoing right now where their opening message was long and horrifically abusive, just straight to the rude words and name calling.
Sorry about that, Nick. I didn't mean
it was him.
Across the rude.
And we've had a right backwards and forwards, and we've already got eBay involved. We've reported them. We offered them a return. Basically something has arrived damaged. They've shown us a picture, but it looks like they've done something that's very simple to do and very simple to kind of put right. They just want the money back and to go away. We said we don't offer. Well, no, they did the whole. Could you compensate us for this damage? Blah, 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 blah. We said we don't offer partial refunds as policy. Return it for a full refund. And then they went into overdrive with the effing and jeffing. So we just politely said, and after all of the next rude word barrage, as we stated, we don't offer partial refunds. Please return it. You will get all of your money and postage back.
Were you keeping it like ultra professional?
Totally 100% professional.
Yeah.
And eBay were involved at this point. Now they've opened the return through PayPal.
Why haven't they gone through
as an
eBay,
item not as described now it is.
But why didn't they do the eBay route first?
I don't know.
No idea. No. Weird.
So they haven't opened the case on eBay as well. So it was just the messages originally.
Yeah, as far as I call, Andrew's been dealing with it. I've been reading the messages; they've been hilarious. But yeah, they basically said, "I'm not dealing with any of this. I do not want to speak to you anymore. I'm going through PayPal because I can trust PayPal. eBay is this, that, and the other. I'm never buying and selling on eBay again. Blah blah blah. All this, like we care."
I have heard people try to avoid the returns process on eBay because they use it so often. It flags up their account, so they try to do it in a different way.
They know they've kind of 3 strikes and out on eBay, and Yeah, so it's an interesting one. I'm not sure either. I don't think they're going to return it because they wanted the item. Apparently, we got the second message was this massive, long-winded sob story about their niece who wanted it. They only want that one. Oh, she's so upset. I'm like, well, just keep it then. It's a super simple repair. Looks like you've just taken that part off and laid it next to it. They've already said to us, it's a simple repair. Just give us some money off. I'm like, well, just simply repair it if it means that much to you, or return it for a refund. There's your options.
You do get some, you really do get some. I had someone message me an abusive message just through going through offers. I think it was like a 10 or £12 item, and I think they offered like £6.99. I would have countered with something, and then they offered 99p. And when I saw that, I just wasn't in the mood. So I think my original offer was £8.99. I think I went back with £9.99 just to sort of go, well, if you've got 99p, I'm going to go like 9. It was silly, really, and I shouldn't have done it, but I was just like, caught me on a bad day. And it came back with either I think it might have been declined or something. And it's just a message saying, silly, see you next Tuesday. And I was like, what? How can't completely taken aback. So I was straight on the block list and blocking them. But you just do not know who's out there. And
it's interesting.
What's going to trigger people.
Like you said, you were caught unawares. It's never worth going down to their level. It never helps you. It never makes it any better. And if you're going to have to open a case, eBay will review all the messages. And if you look totally professional and never go down to their level and being abusive and that, it really helps in your favor because eBay will monitor all of that and they'll go, you have acted perfectly well, and they will back you up. Perhaps they'll be more likely to back you up as well.
I mean, every single message I send, it either starts with "thank you for your message," just out of politeness, or "thank you for your order," even if it's "when are you going to send this? I'm going away. Can you give me some money off?" It will always be just be polite, just be polite, just be polite. Don't get into it.
I was just going to say, I see Neil said he's currently being sued.
Oh, Neil's had some real stories.
Surely they have no case because you can prove that you've refunded them.
Yeah, right? Yeah. If it's already been refunded, then it's
they have no case. There's no outstanding debt, so they have no case. It's laughable, surely.
See, I'd just go there and see what happens. So, like you say, they've got no case, so.
No,
that would just be interesting to go to and see actually what happens.
I think they're all dealt with online now as well, aren't they? A lot of that. I might be wrong, but I think a case like that, it's all dealt with remotely now.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I've never had to deal with it, so
maybe it wouldn't. They would just. It would just never get that file, or basically be told that there's no case to.
That must be so stressful, though. To get something like that. When it's. Well, obviously ridiculous. It's
what was that?
That's the live sale. It's an Etsy sale.
Nice.
Etsy sale. I thought that ding sounded a bit different.
Yeah, it's a slightly different ka-ching.
Yeah, fancy.
It's ding. A ka-ding rather than a ka-ching.
It's an old.
It's a VCR cabinet.
No, not yet. Although that. If I get it
back on there.
Back on sale. It's a radio.
Nice. I just wanted, your brother's just put a really good comment in, and I was going to bring this up as a topic because I think it's so important. He says, problem is too many sellers roll over and give a refund too easily, and this encourages behavior. And I believe in that. And sometimes I've made videos about some of these cases. Some, you'd have seen them. And a lot of people say, oh, just refund and move on. And it's like, well, if everybody does that, it encourages the culture of something for nothing.
Well, especially for you, Nick, if you sort of went and did a video that thousands of people are going to see, is just go, oh well, if I get a complaint like this, I'd normally refund 10-20%. I'm happy to do. You'd get everyone just pile in and try and get discounts. You've got to make a stand.
And like he says, a lot of people know how to use the system, and the one we've got ongoing now, I'm pretty sure is just them thinking, "Oh, I'll fire off this. I'll put that there, and it looks a bit broken. I'll take the picture. We'll get some money back. I don't want to pay for this." And that's how it felt, especially because they came in already furious and being abusive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am totally agreeing with Richard that I think making a stand helps everybody in the long run.
You've got to make a stand.
Because if it's sold once before, get it back, it will sell again, won't it? So yeah, and more often than not, they won't send it back.
Well, that's
so
the other
that
thing.
Bluff, accept the return.
Yep.
The only thing I do when I get something like that, I do message them and tell them it's got to be sent back well, it's got to be packaged well, and I always actually put it's got to be insured for the full value of the item, which they don't really need to, because they can send it back smashed up. It doesn't really matter. I think they're still going to get their money back, aren't they? But it discourages them to send something back.
Yeah, but it is surprising how many people are, this item is the end of the world, this whole thing, they're so stressed out, blah, 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 blah. As soon as you say it's a return or nothing, that's the end of it. They disappear off into the night. Whereas a minute ago, they were raging and, this was so important. And then it's, I won't bother then.
I had a very strange one on Amazon probably a couple of years ago now. And I know you've had a few on Amazon. It just, you pull your hair out going, what is going on? But it was I was trying to remember what it was. I talked to Liz about it, and it was a book. So something completely, just a book. Okay. And I would have wrapped it in like just a light wrapping paper, and then I think I put it in bubble wrap just to protect it, and then put it in a poly mailer. And I sent it off, and the woman said it had arrived. I got a message through Amazon, which is kind of quite unusual anyway, but it had arrived and she'd opened it, and there was a corrosive liquid in there that had got on her hand and irritated her hand and ruined the book. And I was just like, what are you talking about? It's a book. This was completely bonkers. And I kind of thought, is she trying to sort of get some sort of claim going because she's sort of got something on her hand? I contacted Amazon about it, and they said, "Look, we believe in what I was saying, but I had to refund her to sort of put an end to it. But they let me have a month's. I was on the low-level subscription, which was I forget how much it was, about £30 a month. They let me have a month free if I refunded her. But I kind of was looking into because obviously I had her address, and I did a bit of digging and trying to find out, a bit more about her. And she was studying doing in the first year of a law course or something. So me and Liz were just like, well, she's obviously, knows a little bit about the law and he's trying this on. And in the end, I just ignored her. I had about 5 messages come through, and I was just like, you've been refunded. I've dealt with it. And please go away.
How did you find that out? Did you find it on Facebook then or something?
I think I found her on Facebook.
Yeah.
It was a strange name, I think. I think that's what helped. And it was in somewhere in the Northwest. But it was definitely her. And then you kind of looked at studies, studying at and friends of, and you're like, oh, right, okay. But I mean, it's just really weird, because if it was something like, I don't know, something with a liquid in, I don't know, some sort of care kit or anything like that. But a book, suddenly some liquid appears. Very, very strange. But people will try anything on.
Talking about lawyers, I had a lawyer on Etsy. I sold a video recorder, and I think it didn't work, or she said it didn't work. She returned it. She got her money back, but I got loads of messages from her. Basically, her telling me that she was a lawyer and she's going to do all these things,
all these nasty things to you, Derek.
The court and all this sort of stuff. And I was always going to refund her. I just wanted it to be returned, which it did. She got returned, but she just was just nasty from the start. And there was no. Some people are just nasty people. I think they just want an argument most of the time.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think the one we're currently dealing with, it felt so scripted. It really felt like they fire off these abusive emails and scare the bejesus out of you. And most people, like Richard was saying, will just go, well, I don't want to deal with this. It's only £20. I'll just refund them.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And it works the other way with us. If somebody comes in at this level, we're like, right, you're not getting, an easy ride here. If somebody comes in, oh no, this is a ride broken. Look, here's a picture. Is there anything you can do to help me out? You deal with it differently.
Yeah.
Right.
There's different ways of approaching it, isn't there?
It's interesting.
Yeah. Lee just said that he never does partial or full refunds. He always gets them returned.
Yeah. Yeah, the partial.
Well, if it's broken, he can fix it again.
Yes,
yeah. But it is so easy to just fire off a message saying, can you give me some money off because this has happened or this has happened without having to prove anything or open a case.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
I think people just refund. You see it on Facebook groups all the time. They always say cost of doing business and all that. Just refund them and move on. But you can't. I don't think it. I mean, I can understand what they're saying. That it isn't worth the money value, but you've got to make a bit of a stand, and you have to sort of make sure that they don't. Just get the item for free. I
agree. There is a cost of business of doing any distance selling, and I've talked about it. We're very matter of fact, very many times. But you have to weed out the opportunist partial refunders, right? By calling the bluff and saying, "Yes, we have a policy. You can have all of your money back. Just return it. Open a return. I will gladly receive it back." That's the end of it, and it weeds out all of those just trying it on. And like Aaron's just said, the comment you just highlighted, they went away and never opened the case.
Yeah.
And that happens more often than you'd imagine.
Hey, as soon as you call their bluff and you just tell them to return it, open a case, they often don't. I've had that many times.
And report people. If you have an abusive message, if you have a very dodgy return, all of us, everybody watching, report the buyer. Those reports stay. We hope they stay in place, and if they stack up, these people will get booted off the system. That's what's supposed to happen.
I would like to think that happens, but I'm a bit skeptical. I remember years and years ago, you used to be able to, I can't remember what it was. I think if you gave them a non-paying strike, after 3 strikes, you actually saw their accounts get suspended. Because what you could do, you could load up their account, then click the button, and then you could refresh the page and you see that the user's no longer.
It sounds like you've done this on a few occasions.
I think it was three non-paying strikes.
How long do they get to pay? Is it like 48 hours to pay or something?
No, they've got like 4 days, is it not?
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's 4 days until you can open an item not paid for.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you got to cancel it. You can't even open an item not paid for now. You got to actually cancel it and select I didn't pay.
But I mean, reporting. You're saying about reporting. It is a great thing to do for if you do get a negative feedback. Always remember that if there's any swear word in that feedback, I mean, I think I had a negative, and he put bloody or something, so some real low level swear word in. But I rang eBay and said there's abusive language in my feedback. Can you remove it? And they removed it. And again, if there's any hint of feedback extortion in any mails, like I'll have to think seriously about the feedback I'm going to leave. Sort of passive aggressive hinting at they're going to, and then they end up leaving you negative feedback. Ring up eBay, get it removed. Definitely.
With the return that we've got ongoing, this first email was feedback extortion as well, right from the beginning. We'd not even heard that they wanted to return it, that there was a problem or anything. Straight away, feedback extortion, abuse, threats.
In some way, that's quite good. It's it's pretty clear that eBay won't put up with that. So
no.
It's better than
talking about feedback. I got a negative feedback. I think it was last Friday, and I can't remember what the item's for. But it was for something, and I got a negative for it. It was something that could be removed. I can't remember what it was for. And there was another buyer from about a month previous that claimed that I sold a fridge, the camping fridges, plug into your car. Sold one of them, and they got it and said it was full of maggots.
Full to the brim.
Yeah.
Like a fridge of maggots.
So they said it was full of maggots, or had some maggots in. Not full of maggots. Had maggots in it. Anyway, so I said, like what we were saying.
Just say no, those were free. Consider that a little freebie.
So I said, like we've been discussing, just return it, and you get a refund sort of thing. Sorry to hear that. There was no maggots in when I sent it, all this. Anyway, so they didn't return it. So again, I got the case closed out in my favour. But then they opened a chargeback, and I actually won the chargeback, which I was quite surprised by. But
and did you have to do that through eBay, or was it through the bank?
They did it through their bank. The chargeback they did.
So how do you deal with it? How do you talk to your bank? Or?
No, I had to upload evidence, and I basically uploaded the eBay policy that said that if I'd already won an eBay case, which was the return case that they didn't send it back, I have certain seller protections at that point. eBay should back me up. Anyway, which they did. They refunded the buyer themselves.
Yeah, it's great to be able to quote policy like that, though, isn't it?
But she sent back the fridge anyway, which I was quite surprised about. Anyway, got it back, no maggots, it was fine.
That sounds like a change of mind, and they just created a made-up reason.
She just sent it back. I think what happened is she forgot.
Wow.
She forgot. I assume that I don't know why she said there was maggots in there, but she forgot to return it for whatever reason, didn't return it in time. So, then,
right.
I sent her the label. Yeah, she already had the label, so she did send it back in the end, but it was way past, it was about 6 weeks after the...
So in actual fact, you are going to sell that twice and make sort of double the money out of it. So, it's a bit of hassle, but sometimes you do get these little kind of silver lining to the cloud, don't you? Yeah.
Well, it's still on sale now, but
years ago,
sold,
way back when I sold an item on pickup only, it was some shop fitting. Way back when we had the gaming shop, I sold a bunch of shop. That's not easy to say. Shop fittings that we were no longer using because we'd upgraded. And this guy bought them. They weren't cheap. Let's say, I can't remember, 50 quid, right? And it was come and collect. So paid for, and he just never turned up. He arranged the collection. He never turned up, blah, 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 blah. And they were in the basement of the shop, I think. I just forgot about it. Months and months later, I was like, oh, whatever. He just never came. But he paid the day he bought it. I listed them again. The same thing happened twice. And I forgot.
That sounds like magic. I like that kind of item.
Yeah, and it was like, just turn up. We're a high street shop. You can come any time, 9 to 5, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I forgot about it. And then like a year later, I was down in the basement. They never picked them up. So I sold them again.
Incredible. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
David's saying he had a abusive buy here from receiving a Scruples game, complaining we'd sent them a jigsaw puzzle.
Then the most amazing thing about that is he's managed to sell Scruples, because I've got about 5 of them. It's not
he sent the Scruples in an old jigsaw puzzle box, I guess.
Oh, right. Okay.
I had somebody who it was like a chocolate bar box or something like that, and they said, "You've sent me chocolate bars."
Yeah, and you always feel like you need to put a note on the outside. I always use wine boxes. This is not a box of Prosecco; it's a clock radio.
I'll put my label on, and next to it a blank label with "Don't worry, this is not dog food. Your whatever is inside." Honestly, and because I've had so many of them.
Oh, you do. It's just like, just open the thing.
Why have you sent me dishwasher tablets? I haven't.
They don't seem to want to open it either. The person I had, they refused to open it initially. And I
think it's maybe that if they've been sent the wrong thing, they might be made to keep it if they open it.
Yeah, maybe.
If it is a box of dog food.
I had to tell them a couple of times, just open the box. And they kept on saying, no, it's the perfect size. It must have a chocolate bar in it. And I said, just open the box. In the end, I sort of left it there, and I sort of thought,
for God's sake, open the box.
I think I said just return it. I thought, we'll get this. I'd even send it back. Anyway, later on, a few hours later, oh my God, I've just opened the box, and yes,
It
the
wasn't
item's
chocolate.
inside. I thought, yeah.
Shock horror. Wow.
Some crazy people.
Well, it's just, I suppose people, you never know who's buying, and you don't know whether they're new to eBay, new to reselling, just, pretty much clueless about everything in life. You do not know what you're dealing with. And a lot of people won't realise that a box of, with chocolates on might have something else inside, especially when it's got an eBay mailing label on it. So.
Well, I don't know if you've heard about my famous vet tape I use on my packages. But I bought a big bulk load of parcel tape, and it's got vet. It's like a vet company. And I got it really cheap, bought it like a pallet load of it. Anyway,
I'll be back in a minute.
Somebody accused me of, I think it was a slow cooker I'd sold, and it was GSP. And they said it stunk of cats or something like that. And they said they've obviously been used in a vet's because it came with vet tape on it.
So putting two and two together and getting fired.
Yeah. So I can't remember what it was. I think I got away with that by saying, it didn't smell of cats, not as much as I could smell it anyway. It was fine as far as I could see. And
it's funny.
Obviously, I use that for everything. But because it was GSP, I said, I don't know what's happened, but it might have been repackaged by GSP.
For GSP, and they're using vet tape.
eBay removed the feedback. So.
It's funny though. Sometimes I get boxes from the chemist, and I might get like big double wall boxes with that had sanitary pads in, and I always try and tape it to go over like to cover what it was, because I think, God, if someone sees that, I used to actually do that when eBay first brought out their packaging supplies. They used to be white with a great big eBay logo. They do them all different colours now, but the original ones were white. And if I was using tape, I'd try and go over the eBay to cover it up. It's just like,
I feel odd if Andrea sells something on Etsy and I package it in one of the eBay boxes.
Yeah.
The weird little rebel in me kind of finds it amusing, so I just.
Well, I'm like that with that. I think I've done it a couple of times with Amazon, but I kind of stopped doing it. I thought I can't really be like, if it's FBM, I can't really be sending Amazon stuff arriving in an eBay bubble mailer. It's not a good thing. Not a
the
good
only
look.
thing that worries me about doing that, because I do that with Etsy quite a bit. I use the eBay boxes, and it's for an Etsy sale. And I always worry that they might not think it's the item. They're just say, "Oh,
yeah.
Why has eBay sent me this?"
Just scribble out the B and the A and put a T and an S. So, that'll be fine.
I think I have actually done that. Put Etsy with a smiley face once. I'm sure I said something to Nick once, and I put eBay gum on it.
eBay gum.
Yeah, I think you did.
This can't be right. It's an eBay gum sale.
I think it's the only ever eBay gum box in existence.
My spidey senses went then. I was like, can't be right.
Richard says that he hasn't seen that's where the buyer gets suspended after you do the non-payment.
What does that stand for then?
No longer a registered user.
Oh, no longer a registered user. Another pseudonym.
I think that's a thing from the eBay past, unfortunately. I think they should bring it back though.
Back in the good old days.
But it does make sense to it for eBay to kick buyers off the platform, even if they're bad buyers. So I think that's why. But...
Oh, we've seen that one the other day. I was just reading that. That's nasty.
Box. See, that's why I think it's coming back with this video rack. I think he just wants it for free. But yeah, on a £400 sale, luckily this thing's, I think it's £30. So it's not a lot.
Yeah, £400.
£400.
That's gutting. That, I mean, anything. Well, above 100, but like 200, 300 is kind of like a big chunk of your month, isn't it? So,
I sold those. I don't know if you remember those PlayStation dev kits I sold.
Yeah.
Can't remember how much I got for them. Well over £1,000.
Was that like the blue PS1s?
Yeah, the blue ones. Yeah, blue and a green one. I think I've still got a blue one left.
I know somebody's got a blue one. Was it 5,000 each or 500 each?
I think I've got £600 each from memory. Anyway, so I sent them the same buyer. But yeah, he could have quite easily have said, well, changed your mind and sent me back an empty box. And eBay would have basically said, you know, you really are open to abuse. Really.
But if you are a top-rated seller, you have that.
You got the 50%.
Certain amount of protection.
Yeah. I go on the basis that because we buy the stuff so cheap, you know, from boot sales and auctions and stuff like that, if you do have to give the 50%, you've still made a profit anyway.
Yeah, still gutting though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think my last 400 one I did, I filmed me packing it. I think I was doing it.
It'll make no difference.
Well, it won't. I don't think it will. But I was doing it for a video, and it gave me a little bit of peace of mind that if something did kick off, I could send it to eBay. But I did know that the likelihood is, if it went down that road, it wouldn't have made any difference.
No.
But I was just kind of, because it was going to China as well. It's like £400 speakers, and I was really not happy about it. But it all ended up okay. So yeah.
See, any of this evidence, you know, weighing the item before you send it, taking a photo of it, or taking a video, or taking a photo of the serial number. If there's a problem, it's never going to make any difference because who knows what you've sent them. You might have sent them a different thing, or
and eBay would never take any notice of it. I remember that little video I made about the problem eBay will never solve is that it's your word against them, full stop, and you can't provide evidence beyond the tracking that something has arrived there and something has come back. They can't prove anything else beyond your word and the buyer's word. That's the problem. That will never go away.
The only thing I would like them to do is to look at the two accounts, see that I've been on eBay for so long, you know, I've sold loads of stuff, and this is a brand new user with no experience.
A sea of red and returns, and
I mean, I know you've got to refund or do something for the buyer, but it should weigh things more in your favour.
Definitely.
For them to get the bare minimum that they're entitled to.
I guess they've inched towards that by, if you are a top-rated seller, you're held in quite high esteem by eBay as a seller. They do back you up that little bit more and give you some leeway.
Yeah,
I don't think they've quite gone far enough, and I agree with you that the seller metrics and the buyer metrics, that they can see the history of you and your buyer. That should be taken into consideration, but it's another layer that they don't want to deal with. It's more, you know, people looking at things or a computer algorithm that will get it wrong all the time.
Do you two have a kind of amount that an item will sell for where you just start to get a bit like, oh, you know, I'm getting nervous. So you do your 20s and your 30s and maybe your 70s and your 80s all the time. You might get 150 items, 200 items. I think for me, even though it's ended up all right, if it's around the 300 mark, I'm a bit like, oh God, I really hope this goes well. You know,
to be honest, the more expensive the item, I have less problems. I have problems with cheap items. And
very, very cheap items you get.
Picky buyers, you know, who actually want it for free. Someone who's going to spend, I don't know, £100 on a piece of tech. Generally, and there's always exception, but generally they're super honest, super polite, wonderful people.
But it's just that kind of like threshold where when it does get there and you get, you know, it's been delivered and there's positive feedback, you just like, oh, I can just stop, you know, worrying about that because it's been on my mind that you know, I didn't want to get a return for that one. And for me, it'd be like those items around about £300.
Yeah, that moment you get the positive feedback. That is lovely.
The 50% thing, going back to that, I mean, that does help. Say if you sell something for £300 and you've bought it for, I don't know, £10 at the boot sale, even if you make £150 on it, having to give the
definitely.
You know, it gives you that comfort blanket, I suppose, to not worry about things too much. But yeah, obviously it's.
Aaron's asking me about a doll's house, which was one of the ones I kind of wrote down. It was the Sylvanian family's hotel, so the red one. You know, a lot of people have had that. A Regency hotel. And it only just fits in the GSP limits, and it only just fits in the Hermes limits, I think. So it's quite a big old thing. I got a buyer from France and packaged it up. Complete nightmare. I think I had to resize it. Got it down to Hermes, and when I got back from the Hermes shop, she'd opened a return saying that she'd looked at some. Oh, I think she sent me a message saying she didn't want it anymore because she'd looked at the photos in more detail, and she didn't want it because she said the condition wasn't what she wanted. So I messaged her back saying, well, the photos form part of the description, but you can return it. All you have to do is open a case as change mind, because you've changed your mind. So she did that. It got sent to her, but when it arrived at her door, she just refused to accept the package. So what she should have done is like, yes, that's my package. I will now do the eBay return, and she would have had to have paid the postage because I'd, led her down that path saying it's a change mind. But she just refused it, and she told me she was going to do this, and I said, no, you don't want to do that. But she did it anyway, and then it just kind of got put back in the postage system, and I think I tracked it, and it went back. Who are the people who used to do GSP? It's
Pitney Bowes.
Yeah, Pitney Bowes. Yeah, and it went back to some place, warehouse of theirs back in Leicester. I could follow it all the way back through the ports, went to Leicester, and it must have been sold off for an auction somewhere for Pitney Bowes returns that people don't claim. But she ended up like her return got closed down because she didn't do a mailing label, she didn't do a return. All she kept saying was, I refused it when it arrived at the door, which was completely her choice. So that's what ended up happening with that one. And after I kind of got back to her and sort of explained it, I didn't hear from them. Now, whether she spoke to eBay France and got anything out of it, I don't know. But from my end, the case got closed and I didn't have to refund her.
Well, she refused it, then it's really down to her, really.
Yeah, just sort of, that's kind of like sticking your head in the sand, saying I'm not going to deal with it because. But,
It's really odd that you had one of those. I had the exact same item, Sylvanian Hotel, big square thing, and that went to France on GSP.
You got a little bit damaged, was that? I think I remember that.
It got damaged. A couple of little corner finials got knocked off or something. So I said, well, speak to eBay because they're in charge of the international leg of the journey.
GSP.
And I kept all my money and they refunded her.
Yeah,
I had something similar. It basically got lost. It never got delivered. It after it went. I think it was. I can't remember, France or somewhere. I think, and it went through the GSP shipping centre. This thing and got to France, and it hadn't been delivered at some point. So eBay closed the case in my favour and refunded the buyer. But now the buyer keeps on messaging me saying that the tracking says it's been delivered to some parcel shop. And I said, well, just go there and get it. and she basically saying, oh, I don't know where the shop is. Can you tell me where it is? And I thought, you've been refunded for a start, so you shouldn't really be here.
Yeah.
So I said, just speak to eBay. So I didn't want to make it look, if, they might reverse something or do something if they think that she can get the item. Saying that it was eBay who refunded her anyway.
I mean, they are generally pretty good on anything that sort of breaks. I sent a brass little small statue and I packed it to death. It was like 3 layers of bubble wrap, double boxed in double walled boxes with space as well. But it arrived and it looked like someone had literally driven a car into it and it had broken. And they refunded that. So they're good for that. And I don't know if I've had an item not received. But I suppose the one you fear is if you've sent something via GSP and you get an INAD on it.
Well, I've had a few of them. And
what do you do about that? Because I can't remember. I definitely haven't had one for a long time. So they
make you pay for a label.
But how much is
you can't do it because I tried to pay. It was I can't remember what it was like. Let's just say it was Germany.
Yeah,
and I went on to some couriers over there to see if I could book a label, and you couldn't because it detected my ISPers in the UK, and he said we can't book it.
So I could
do it. I ended up refunded them because I had no choice. It was quite a low value, so it didn't matter too much. But
yeah, I mean, I suppose it's the worry is if it is like 50, 60 plus, and you're just like, oh,
we had a case of, I think it was like a posh men's jacket, went to Australia, and we had an INAD, and we had to pay for the return, and we did, and it was ridiculously expensive. It cost us like, I don't know how much to get it back.
Did you have to book it all yourself?
It's years ago, but yeah, I think so.
Because I think I went onto eBay and told them that I couldn't do it. You know, what can I do? Can you not provide?
Don't they suggest some like crazy things like, you know, I'll get your buyer to do it and then refund them directly?
That's what they said. They said if the buyer buys the label, you could refund the buyer. But
that's just bonkers.
That may have been what happened. I'd have to ask Andrea. It was her sale and she dealt with it, I think. But that may have been it, that he returned it and we had to foot the bill, and it was like 50 quid postage or something. But that's what happened, and we got this jacket back and had to foot the bill.
Yeah,
and then sold it for a tenner.
I couldn't remember. I don't know. Probably.
Oh dear.
Cliff's got a good point. The 50% refund. Yeah, you don't get the fees back when you do a 50%. So yeah, it could end up being like 65%.
Was that what it would work out as? It's only 65.
Guess so. Yeah,
I suppose.
If you're saying fees are 15% of
total
when at the beginning, roughly, it will vary a bit, but it will be there or thereabouts.
Or 50, half of 15%, I suppose, because I don't know.
So 57.5.
Yeah.
I don't know,
because you'd still expect to pay fees on the 50% that isn't refunded. I think. I'm confusing myself there.
Ian says he sold a pair of leather boots. They sent back a shirt. So they bought some boots and then sent back a shirt instead. Action fraud. I've gone through action fraud before as well. And I think you were told to do it, weren't you, Nick, for your headlamp?
Oh, we were sent on a blooming...
Yeah, you ended up going to the police
station.
Around
the houses.
Yeah.
Talking to police officers. He looked at us like we were thick as you know what.
I remember that thumbnail.
I'm like, I know it's not a police matter. Can you write down on there, it's not a police matter for me? Sure.
That was an epic, that video.
That was so funny. I love the fact that people quite high up at eBay watched that and got in touch.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And then we got a written apology. And policy didn't really...
Was it on yellow paper?
I bet they haven't changed it.
So what?
Was it on yellow paper? I think remember.
That was just my printout of the email.
That was your printout. You should frame that apology letter.
Well, I made a follow-up video of the apology, and that's on like I don't know how many views now.
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
I sent the camera to a UK address by UPS, and somehow it got sent to Germany. And the track got lost.
Oh, that's awful.
Are you sure there wasn't like a mailing label on it that you didn't peel off or something?
That's what you got to be careful, because I reuse boxes I get from my Hermes shop.
Yeah. You have to make sure the labels are off.
They have old labels on, and I always peel them off. But it's easily done to forget.
Yeah, all my boxes could end up at the pharmacy in Wallington High Street if I'm not careful, because that's where I get my boxes from.
Exactly. I tend to stick blank 6x4s over any labels I can see.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
That's generally what I do as well. Richard's got to phone eBay in the morning. GSP claims to receive an empty box. Looks like the eyes.
Well, it's covered by GSP. Hopefully, that will be.
Yeah, that should be.
You'd like to think so, anyway.
Well, it depends, because they might say that items not as received, not as described. Because I've had that, and it's been for something that should have been a broken in transit thing, but they've put it through as not as described because something snapped off. Say it's an ornament. I don't know what it was, but so the head broken off an ornament. They would say that that's not as described because I listed it.
Well, I mean, that's got to be a real...
But eBay wouldn't change the reason for the...
No, they won't change it. I think you'd have to try and talk the buyer into sort of saying, I'm sorry your item is broken, but the return reason does need to be item is broken. And like really...
I don't think they could change it, though.
Well, can't they close the case and then reopen the case?
I don't think once you close it, I don't think you can open a new one, can you?
I don't know.
I don't think.
But you know, the important thing is to get it closed. Don't worry about the
eBay
rest.
basically said I've got to receive it back and then deal with whatever comes back.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I can't do that because it's going to cost too much. It wasn't. It was quite a low value item. I think then I had to refund them as well.
Sometimes you have to get on these things sort of like straight away, but it's difficult when buyers just open things without letting you know.
Yeah,
I think there definitely should be sort of some additional steps, like someone can't open the case without messaging you first or something.
I think they should do that.
That'd be really good.
And they should do that with returns. And I think what they should do is basically not allow it. And they say you have to send the message because eBay can detect whether a message has been sent.
Yeah, I think it'd be a simple step to do, like a returns process. Go into the returns process. First thing, send a message.
Yeah, I mean, it does say, have you sent a message to the buyer? It does say that. On feedback anyway, when you leave a negative feedback.
Well, give us a chance to make it right. Right? That we may be able to solve the problem for them. For example, I had a load of Motown records, a big batch of the same 2 or 3 titles, but they were the same records. So I listed them and sold one. And it turned up and it was skipping, and I was like, well, fair enough. I do have more. She'd opened a return at this point already, but I said, look, do you want me to send out another one? So I have done, but she hasn't closed the case, and I've messaged her several times already. But that's a good example where I could solve the problem without opening the return, right? Luckily, she did open the return, but then I messaged her. But you see, now the return's already open. So what you suggest would have helped in this instance, because I could have said, that's all right, fair enough. Do you want another one? Which she did. I'll send it out.
And I would love to be able to. I know you can have a blocked buyers list, but I would like to have a filter option so that if someone has done, I think there might be an option for if someone's opened a number of returns, you can filter them out. But if someone has given like 5% negative feedback, or put some sort of I don't want anyone who gives a lot of negative feedback to buy from my store. And I'd love to be able to do that because, whenever I get offers, I'm always looking at the feedback left for others column. And, if on that first page I see like 2 or 3 reds, I'm like, forget it. I'm blocking this. So, because it's more trouble than it's worth.
I wish they'd do that, but they won't because they don't want us to block buyers. I don't think they want us to sell to. They don't want anybody to go on eBay and not be able to purchase. So I can't see them doing that, but that would be a great idea.
I just read Phil's comment. Phil Higginson. Hi, Phil. I had a guy complain about. Oh, I've got an echo. Yeah, had a guy complain about the poor packaging and condition of the stamps. Hadn't even fulfilled the order. So it's a classic.
I've had a similar one where somebody's done that. They've bought it and then they've complained about it before I've even sent it. I think it was not arrived or something like that. It hadn't even been posted. Something like that. And I thought this is going to be trouble.
I've had messages come through complaining about, I can't remember the item, but let's say this video player you sent me doesn't even work. And I'd sold, and it was on a sale for some Pokemon cards, that sort of thing. So they've messaged me on my sale about someone else's item.
Yeah.
I've had feedback for other people's items as well.
I've had that.
I have.
It's like, what the hell's going on here?
It's weird.
You get like this random, feedback, and you just kind of look at it like, I just kind of think, well, once I get like 4 or 5 more, it won't be sort of showing, but you do get some weird ones.
Can we all just mute and then unmute again because we've got feedback going on?
Yeah.
All right.
Is that any better?
Yeah, I think so. Probably me.
GSP should cover it as presumably they must realise it wasn't empty at the GSP centre. Yeah, it got through the GSP centre. And because GSP repackage items, then, well, they can do.
Have you ever had an item arrive at GSP damaged, and
They've refused it.
they've refused it?
No, but I've had something where they destroyed it or something like that.
I had one. I did bad.
Prohibited.
It was a Guitar Hero guitar, and I packaged the main body of the guitar, and then I just sort of stuck a bit of cardboard around the neck. And Liz said, "Are you sure you're going to do that? You know, if you package something like that, you shouldn't be able to see something of it, because that's just going to." And I was going, "Yeah, it'll be all right." You know, I put cardboard twice anyway, sent it off. It got broken. GSP refused it at the point of it arriving. But then
it's not me because I was muted. It's still.
Oh, I'll check mine in a minute. But the system just went wrong, and I think they ended up for some reason refunding me, and I just took it as a you know, a bit of a result.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute myself.
Right, has the echo gone now?
I don't know. That's it. I can't hear an echo.
When I talk, I'm getting something back. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It was all right for like most of it.
I think we're near the hour now anyway, to be honest.
We could start yodeling and take advantage of the echo.
I've changed my mind.
Feet and neck.
Yeah, but it was still going on when I was muted.
Had a few destroyed items, motorcycle helmet and some bandages, both prohibited items. Yeah, I think I sent something. Somebody managed to buy something and I sent it. It was an ornament, I think. It might have had some sort of material in it trying to go to Australia or something. And they basically said, we can't send it to Australia. So they destroyed it at Lichfield. And they just gave the guy his money back, and I kept the money as well. So it was, God knows what happened to the item. But probably ended up at an auction, I guess.
Yeah, I want to find these auctions where all this stuff ends up. That'd be great.
Yes, they're the auctions we need to go to, isn't it? Oh, the UPS for the UK to Germany on 2 different occasions, very common.
Interesting.
I've never. Well, I used to send stuff with UPS quite a lot. I don't so much nowadays, but I never had a problem with it.
So, do we have a plan for next week?
Well, the plan is it's on my channel, and I've got someone who I'm going to ask to come on. I don't know whether they're going to say yes, but we'll see. So that's the plan.
Sounds very secretive.
And the subject, obviously, the subject depends on whether I can get these people on. So there we go, more than one.
Little hint.
Okay.
Good. Right, we could wrap this up here. So yeah, we'll be on next week. We'll be on Pete's then, with hopefully these
mystery people,
mystery guests. Well, thank you for coming on as normal. You got any videos on the plan? I know you've got your auction on Sunday, don't you, Nick?
Yeah, if people aren't aware, we are rapidly approaching moving house. We haven't sold as much stock off as we'd like, so we're selling some in bulk. There's some really good lots going, whatever price it reaches, so have a look if you're interested. We put out a preview if you want to have a look at the lots.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll have to come by. I don't know if I need any new stock though, but I think I've got enough stocks about.
I was tempted by the football shirts. But,
a lot of people are.
I was just like, Nick, can't you just sell them to me? Like, you know, don't auction them on your channel.
I've said it now.
You got any videos out soon, Pete?
What am I doing? I keep meaning to do one about the 99p auctions. I did, and I meant to do them before the auctions ended, but they have ended. But I still might do them anyway. And it'll be another kind of anti-Bolo video. I did one of those probably about a year ago. And I always prefer an anti-bolo video to a bolo video. I always like to see what to avoid. Like car boot nightmares. So that'll hopefully be coming out.
Well, I've got a car boot video. I only realised when I was setting up this live, I noticed I uploaded a car boot video the other day, and I forgot to do anything with it. So I've got to make that live. So that'll probably come out over the weekend. I'll do a thumbnail for it. So a car boot sale haul video. So watch out for that. So yeah, next week on Pete's channel, 9:30 Thursday. And thanks for everybody for coming on, and thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully
see you all on Sunday for the bargain fest that will be the auction we're having.
Yeah, hopefully some people will be buying.
I blooming hope so.
Buying it at. Fingers crossed. Well, thanks guys, and catch everybody next week then. Goodbye.